Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome. It's good to be here. I want to thank Martha and friends of the Frams who are putting on a lovely onig in honor of Phil Fram's birthday. Past president and a friend to many of our congregants. And we're going to open with Tine Matov.
Sure, I happen to know that.
Do you happen to know that one?
Yeah.
Which melody are you going to use?
You have a favorite?
I like doing both of them together,
Okay.
one after the other.
We'll do every one we know. Okay.
Well, I only know two, but maybe you know more. Oh,
Should be 128. We'll start with Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, ya la 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 la. Hine matov, ya la 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 la. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai, ya la 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 la. Hine matov manai, ya la 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 la. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manai shevet achim gam yachad. Ma yafe hayom Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafe hayom Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
it is good to be together. I'd like to invite Martha and Carla up to light the candles for us.
Oh, yeah, are you not hearing her? It sounds nice and loud up here, but.
Yes, it sounded loud to me up here, but it doesn't make it mean that
Okay.
it's-
Just lean in.
Well, I want to wish Phil Fram a happy birthday, and Risa and Phil for visiting, and all the friends of Frams for participating. You can, thank you for bringing good stuff for the Oneg afterwards. Phil was president 2000 to 2020, 2000 to 2002, 20 years ago. We have many other presidents, some other presidents in the audience. Do you want to raise your hands? Yeah, good. See, we don't forget. And to friends at Frams at home, too. Somewhere. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Can you speak English closer in terms of, because I can't lean much.
Yeah, that's right. Just turn it toward you. That'll be fun.
Did you want us to read the English?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. Can they hear me? Okay. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
We need to fix one of them.
Is this kosher to do this?
It is now.
It is now,
Yes.
you've just made
It
it
has
kosher,
just become tradition.
especially with
I know you're not
Well,
supposed to.
for those of
Why-
you in our congregation, I've talked to the rabbi about the candles, and apparently he is trying to get new candles, so if you all want to say anything about it, there's my political speech for tonight.
Please join me at the top of page 124. We'll read together. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. We enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, and the flaws within our human hearts, the hardness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Page 126. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics or no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Please stand for the Barku on page 146.
La 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 la. La 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 la. la la la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai Ha'mevorach.
On page one, join me in page 148 for Ma'ariv Aravim in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim b'chokhmah poteach she'arim ubitvunam mashnei itim umachalit et hazmanim umavdir bein Hayam Berkirat Kurtzona, Boreyam Balila, Golel Or Mipne Koshech, Bechoshech Mipne Or, Umavir Yom Umevi Lila, Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Lila, Adonai Tzavot Shemo, El Chai Bekayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu, Ulam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim. Please be seated. And turn to, with the Shema, which is we're going to do next, I always like to think about the rest of the world. I mean, it starts on the other side of the world where my daughter is. And so Shabbat started, has already happened for a lot of Jews. And it's just nice to think about it moving around the world. It's finally gotten here. I guess it'll end in Hawaii. I don't know what's beyond Hawaii before you get to the date line. But it's what ties us all together, and it's something we all say everywhere, all around the world. So it's our time to join together and join the Jewish community of the world, which we are part of. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha U'b'chol nefshecha U'b'chol me'odecha V'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Alevavecha V'shinatam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha V'beitecha Uvlechecha V'derech Uv'shochvecha Uv'chumecha Ukshartam liot Al Yadecha V'ayulatotafo V'neinecha Uktabtam Al Mizuzot Beitecha Uvisharecha Leman Tiskaru V'asitem Kol Mitzvotai V'tem Kadoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Hotziti Etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Please, okay. On page, join me on page 150, and we'll read about. I skipped something that I wanted to do. I have it in large print, but my eyes jump around. The bottom of page 150, let's read together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and in doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We usually have that in Hebrew, but I like to, once in a while, think about the words in English. I did the opposite with Mari Varabim, which we haven't said in Hebrew in a really long time. Page 157. Join me at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together, and maybe more important than ever, joining hands and marching together these days.
Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh.
We turn to page 160, and we're going to do the Hashki Venu, and it's the prayer that I like to sing to myself after I get into bed. Makes it just really settles me down, and I like to think about the words, really translating the Hebrew words in my head to myself as I sing it. But anyway, let's join together and with Gordon, which makes it much more lovely.
Shalom, Shalom, Hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim, Fros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Fros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Shalom,
Please rise for the tefillah. It starts on page 164. And we'll say the prayers together through page 168, and then there'll be time for silent prayer and meditation. Adonai sefatatita ufi agita ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mechayeh Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayeh Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh k'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim v'kol yom yihalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon L'chol hashalom. Tahu Melech Hadon Lechol HaShalom Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Leolam Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Leolam Tov B'einecha Livarech Et Amcha Yisrael Bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך שלום רב על ישראל עמך חסים לעולם 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 חסים לעולם חסים לעולם
Thank you. Carla DeParto is going to come up and read one of her favorite prayers for us, Guard My Speech, in her favorite version.
Yes, it took me 6 prayer books to find it. But I found it. Phil used to read this every time he was at services when he was the president. Yeah, which was, as he said, almost every time. He was there very consistently, and it really touched my heart. And in fact, I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. I wanted him to read it at our Benot Mitzvah, and I waited too long, and they were off doing something more fun. So I just wanted to read that tonight for Phil. So, O God, guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking guile. Purify my heart, and there be it no malice, but a prayer for the good of all. Lead me in the ways of righteousness, that I may hurt no one, and help me to bring the blessings of love to others. Open my heart to do your will. Strengthen my desire to obey your commandments, and may my thoughts and my prayers be acceptable to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Amen.
Thank you, Carla. This is the time when we think about members of our congregation who are ill and need our prayers for healing. Would you turn to page 371? That's the page we used to do when I first started coming to here, and my book's always open to that page. Oh, I need to read the Misha Barak list. Let's see. Here we go, healing list. Ed Eston, Ileana Masi, Kevin Brackett, Michelle Camasia, Joshua Hyman, Diane Butler, Jesse Friedman, Beverly Eigner, Ed Eston, Marjorie Gilberg, Michael Blend, Jim Mates, and Scott Cohen. And does anybody have?
Howard and Kate Mendelson and David Mendelson.
Thank you.
מי שברך bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu for habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
And for Rosh tonight, Carla is going to bless us with her thoughts about the portion.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome home for a visit, Risa and Phil. It's really nice to have you here. I feel home now. So this portion is very long and very large and says so much, and it gets us prepared for the High Holy Days. So I always, when I do this, look at something that kind of touches me. And so it's not complete for those of you who are very learned. You know, don't say, oh, she forgot about that, because that's in there. So I'll just let you know what my thoughts on this portion. Ruach, what's before you. The Jews prepare to enter Israel. And a soon-to-be-realized covenant refers to the Jewish rite and their passage of achieving their own covenant, their own land, the covenant of having their own land. And so the people of Israel listen to the laws and the rules, and you can take possession of the land, Hashem said. So there's all kinds of things that happen in between that some people didn't listen, and some tragedies happened to them, and what if some of you would say maybe a punishment for not following the laws, and they did not get to pass. So Adonai destroyed all those worshiping false gods, for instance, and all you need to do is see the challenges before you, he said, and work on them and work through them and take action. And I think in Judaism we all talk about and we learn about every week something that we need to do to take action. You know, I was talking to Ellen earlier, and she's starting one of many, but a new project that I'm very interested in terms of stopping recidivism. I can't say that word very well. Recidivism in people coming out of the prison system and out of incarceration. So those are all things that God wanted us to look forward, not just at what was happening, like we want this little piece of land, but once we get it, what are we going to do with it? And how are we going to take care of it? And how are we going to take care of the people? And what is your part in that? You know, here I'm giving you this gift, and how are you going to sustain it and hold it? So again, he says, look at the challenges before you and take action. You must observe, and you must follow the rules and the guidelines throughout your life. This way we will be seen as a nation of wise and understanding people. And we will see blessings, and we will nurture those blessings, and we will nurture our people. So living with dignity and diligently teaching them, making them the guidelines known to your children and your grandchildren. This was one of the foundational pieces that started us talking about Lador Vador. So I thought that was very interesting that when I found that said that was one of the central things that came out of the crossing, is that Lador Vador was really emphasized at that point when we were joining into our own land. So, And he proclaimed the 10 words then, which they said in a really old prayer book that I looked at. I looked at several different things to do this, but the 10 Commandments. And again, telling us to live and teach them, barring all false gods and idols. And when we look at our young folks coming up, I just had this conversation with some friends not too long ago. You know, what are they learning in the world in general? So if we want our Jewish roots and our Jewish belief system to live and stay strong throughout our children's lives and our grandchildren's life, then we need to be acting, you know, throughout our lives and showing them what it is to be a good person and a good Jew. But if you fall short, Adonai says, return to me and I'll be merciful. So that brings me back to when I was at Weight Watchers. I need to go back. Where they said, you know, if you make a mistake that day, you eat a piece of pie or you eat too much or whatever you do, just start over right after that. You know, don't say, oh, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, or now I can wait till next week. So I think in Judaism, it's the same thing. None of us are perfect, and God doesn't expect perfection, but he expects us to be genuine. So when we make a mistake, then we correct our actions. And that's what I got out of that. That's what he's asking for. Excuse me. The portion speaks in multiple ways of guidelines, rules, laws, mitzvot, and it gives us ways to follow that and interpret them over and over and over, reminding us that if we lose focus, that Adonai will take us back. However, remember, when this is discussed, it is not permission for you to willfully not obey the rules and the commandments. It's if we make a mistake. It's not if we can say, oh, I'll just go do that today and God will forgive me. That's not what he says in this portion at all. He says, if you're genuine, you're welcome to come back. So I think we all need to kind of think about that. If we get a little loose around the edges sometimes and say, oh, yes, we have a God of forgiveness. Yes, but he's not as forgiving if we are intentionally malice or we do something that on purpose that we know is going to be hurtful to others. So we'll willfully disobey these statutes, he said, but there needs to be a way to refocus and to come back to following the word of Adonai. A real-life example would be something like telling a child to say they're sorry. And as a teacher for many, many years, I always had a little issue with that because when in fact they may not be sorry. So God doesn't want us to just say, oh, you know, I'm going to disobey this and then I'm sorry, and then you're all forgiven. That's not what we're asking for. He is looking for true remorse and what you're doing to do the work to make things better for yourself and for your community. In the upcoming months, we have the perfect opportunity to formalize this inner work in this portion as we prepare for the experience of the High Holy Days. Kehi Ratzon, may it be God's will.
Thank you, Carla. This is the time in the service where we think about members who have passed. I'm going to read the memorial
Well, I
death.
think we're going to do Alenu first.
Oh, I'm
and then-
sorry. I
That's okay.
really get, my eyes jump around badly. Yes, thank you, Gordon.
Sure.
Thankful Gordon's up here with me. But for more than one reason, the music is always nurturing to my soul.
Well, thank you.
And so, whether I'm here or there, either place, but. the
Page
lang-
586. Rise if you're able for the Alenu. לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
And I would like to invite the board member.
Oh, then you can be seated if we're going to do you're going to do announcements?
Yeah.
Okay,
Trying to-
great.
Yes, announcements. There are announcements.
Where's what? Well, there's one. Yeah, yeah. I was there. I think it's there.
Look at a camera, either there or there, and just wait.
Yeah, there.
Seriously, because we're all a community, whether we're here in person or at home, and sometimes I think we forget. I'm going to break protocol a little bit and say thank you very much. I know I'm supposed to be doing announcements. My first time, I'm really nervous, and ironically, I'm taking a public speaking class on Monday. So for the announcements today, my name's Dave DeBro, and on Sunday, August 28th, there's going to be the first Shorashim gathering for this year. Please RSVP with Leah via email. You can catch that on the website. And Sunday is also a full day of religious school, and it starts at 9:30 and goes till 12. On Saturday, September 3rd, Rabbi Goldstein will be holding a Torah study. There's no religious school the following day on the 4th. The synagogue office will be closed on Monday the 5th for Labor Day. Put your flags out. Don't miss Congressman Mike Thompson speaking here at Shabbat services on September the 9th. It should be a good talk. Followed on Saturday the 10th on the morning at 10:30 a.m. Our Torah study service with Aliyot by Howard Eisenstark and Barbara Gardner and Ann Persillet, who've been learning with Leah Savage in our adult trope class. Also, we'd like to remind you that High Holy Days are just, they're right around the corner. They're coming right up. And if you haven't registered yet for services or began your membership payments, please do so you're able to join us. And if you need to make special arrangements, please contact Roberta via the email address president@cbs.org or email. I'd like to give a couple of warm wishes for this week's birthdays and anniversaries. Steve Weissman, Lily Goldman, Michelle Muir, Jesse Petrick, Juliana DePasqua, Lisa Wanagrade, Judith Myers, and Amelie Muir. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. And also happy anniversaries to Susan Copperman and Philip Ross, their 18th Chai Yud good luck anniversary, and Andrew Starr and Debbie Alter Starr for their 30th anniversary. Welcome home, as was already stated. Thank you for hosting tonight, and pleasure to see you. I'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Good.
Perfect.
Shabbos, everybody.
I don't think you need that class, that public speaking class. That was very good. Yes, very, very nice. Yeah, you should teach the class. Good idea.
Okay. I'm going to read from the one-year Kaddish list. Arnold Trombler, Erica Cornelison, Gladys Shubin, Richard Magano, Clark Smith, Stephanie Rab Axner, David Ernesto Kaplan, Pat Pate, Annette Goldberg, Maggie Sherman, Sandra Benko Frichtenberg, Nicholas Huff, George Montano, Dean Wilson, Norman Charney, David Alpert, Renee Munoz, Michael Cossin, Paul Dworsky, and it's a Colonel Ed West. And we think of those who have passed in years past at this time. And the first, before reading the list, I just want to mention that there is a new plaque for Peter de Pasqua out in the Founder's Glen, and he was very important in designing it and bringing it to fruition. And I think Roy put it up, and it's shaped like a baseball home plate, and I invite all of you to go out and take a look at it and think of Peter. I'm going to read the yahrzeit list now. Peter de Pasqua, Pauline Becker, Max Yeshowitz, Tebya Schwartz, Marcy Sefrin, and Gloria Curry. Please join me in rise and join me on page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yet Gadal Kadash Shemei Rabbah Bialma Dibra Kirute Biamlik Malchute Bechaychun Ubiamechun Ubachay Bebot Israel Bagala Uzman Karib Imru Amen Yehei Shma Rabba Mehorak Leolam Ulmei Maya Beit Barak Ishtabak Mar Mam Naseh Beit Hadar Beit Hillel Lel Shmei Kudusha Barichu Leil Amin Kol Birchata B'Shirata Tush B'Chata V'Nechemata Damiran B'Alma B'Imru Amen Yehei Shmama Rabba Min Shemaya L'Chaye L'Leinu V'Yakol Yisrael B'Imru Amen Asay Shalom B'Imramav Hu Yasay Shalom Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael B'Imru Amen. And we are now at a happier time with Kiddush and Motzi coming up. So let's see. Carla and Martha, could you hold the bread? And I guess I'm, on page 1, let's do the longer version, the 123 for the Kaddish. Kiddush, yes, sorry. I can find my page. Gordon, would you help us with that?
Yeah, did you say the page already?
123?
Oh, 123. Sure. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari agafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu,
B'Shabbat kodsho, b'Yahava uvratzon hinkilanu, zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, b'yotanu kidashta, Mikohamim, V'Shabbat Kodshecha, B'Yahava Uvratzon, Inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
And the motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
It's a beautiful. Well, I can't eat it, but
That's right. I didn't get a gluten-free one.
we'll put it out.
Why don't you have a seat?
And we'll have our ending
We're going to do
song.
an ending song. Did you choose one?
Well,
What would you like to do? Phil, you have a favorite
Lech
song you'd like
Lecha.
to end with? Oh, Lech Ilach? You like
Yes.
that one? It was chosen for you on your behalf. Okay. Let's see. I was just on there. I'll tell you what page it's on. It is page 645. Lech Ilach. Lech Ilach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lech Ilach, on your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lech Ilach. Lech Ilach. And I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lech Ilach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, Lech Ilach. You shall be a blessing. 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 Lech Ilach.
thank you. It's always a blessing to be together for Shabbat. And thank you, Gordon.
Sure. So I guess we're going to be going
We're going to go
over.
and join.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat,